Jason's got his bosun chair on.
It's almost sunset and we're headed out. Look it up if that happens. The bow of our boat went underwater. I started planning this trip a couple months ago and started by trying to figure out how long it would take us to get there, when will we arrive, where will we stay, and what needs to be done to the boat before we leave. These were just some of the questions we had. I've been working on a couple of lists for a few months, things that need to be done at the boat before we leave and things that I can do at home. We got the whisker pole mounted to the stanchions. I checked my chart plotter for Key West and even added a waypoint. We checked the screens we bought to make sure they fit all the hatches, did an oil change on the engine, and marked the anchor chain. When you're going to go to Key West, that's a little different than just going to the Florida Keys. If we were retired, we would just go to a bunch of different keys and explore all over the place. But we're going to Key West, and you can see the Keys have just a lot of little islands everywhere, and our path will be right here from the Clearwater area. Once we turn around Pinellas County, it'll be like a straight shot the whole way, unless the wind makes us do something different. Basically, there's 6 anchorages we considered. Number 1, Garrison Bright Mooring Field. Number 2, Key West, Fleming, and Key Bright. Number 3, Wisteria Island Southeast. Number 4, Wisteria Island Northwest. Number 5, Sigbee Park, although this seems like you might have to be a military veteran or something. It was unclear to me. Number 6, Man of War Harbor. There's also some marinas here, the main marina in Key West. It's very expensive, about $500 to $600 for a few nights. They didn't have any openings the first time we were looking. So wind prediction 10 days out is not good. It's the wind right on our nose, so we hope that changes. A 10-day forecast is only about 50% correct. So we made 2 lists. One was things we could do at home, and one was a list of things we could do at the boat. And this list, you can see all the things in yellow are things that I already have accomplished. And then the things that aren't highlighted are things we still have to do. I'm not going to go over each item in this video. If you want to pause it and read our list, you can. But basically, we still have a couple things we have to get done to make everything work right. And we have to go on a night sail to see what it's going to be like when we're sailing at night and work out any issues we might have, so we're not just stuck with them for 2 full nights on our trip.
Jason hasn't had a captain's seat for a while because this one here got all ripped, and I got this 3-inch bulk foam that we had left over from our camper project. There we go. It may not be perfect, but it is cut.
Susie did a great job on the seat, and it worked out really well. So that's one more list item taken care of. We're going to take with us 2 extra 5-gallon jugs of diesel fuel. So I have this 2x4 that I'm going to put between the stanchions, and I'm marking the stanchion locations so I can drill through it and put these U-bolts through. Round the edges. I did that with the jigsaw, then I'm going to sand it round. I'm going to paint this with some paint so it's more weatherproof. I always get paint on myself. The 20 minutes this took, I think it was worth it, instead of just having a bare piece of wood. We're still 9 days away from when we leave, so here's the forecast for that day. It can't be pretty accurate because it's so far out, but still. And as I record this, it's really windy today, windier than normal outside. I can hear the trees in the backyard rustling. So here's today's map, 23 knots. So what does that look like? Here's a webcam shot at Clearwater Beach at 23 knots. Here's a webcam on one of the more south beaches. That doesn't look very inviting either, so I hope this isn't the case. This isn't a blue water 30,000 pound boat. This is a 28-foot coastal cruiser that we have. So if this is what we're faced with, we really have to think about if it's the right thing to do. I was able to get these off Amazon, so I don't have to have the actual spouts on there to collect water while we're sailing.
Gathering up all of our safety things, checking to make sure that they are not expired. Flare gun, pew pew, and some handheld flares as well.
What do you got there?
PFDs.
up in the bow here in the V berth, where we got some drawers for our clothes because we're going to be in here an entire week. Oh, the spinnaker.
All right, I brought our wetsuits and the snorkeling flag.
Nice. Woo! Woo! We have our shake siphon, extra dock lines, snorkel gear, fenders. I have this little temperature probe here that has an alarm if the engine overheats. This, if it gets over a certain temperature, will set off an alarm, and we don't have anything on this sailboat to do that. So if the engine overheated, we would just never know until it stopped working. So maybe something like that could give us a chance to fix something or notice that water wasn't flowing or something like that. I have my gear set up. This is my foot strap, my ascender. It goes up but not down unless you pull this. And then my safety one goes up but not down unless you release this. And then I have a safety line over here with another thing on it. These carabiners can hold 4,000 pounds.
Jason's got his sexy bosun chair on.
Second screws coming out. It's just so uncomfortable up here. Like, you think because I'm sitting in a chair it would be comfortable, but it's not. Taking out the bulb. Go ahead and go turn the steaming light on. All right, nothing's happening. I'm gonna take the bulb out. The package to the LED bulb I had said there's a polarity to it, and I didn't try it the other way, so it could have just been that I put it in upside down. Well, I'm back from climbing the mast. I went to the steaming light, and the problem I'm having is that, I just don't, like, the height's not bothering me, but the stamina to be doing that, holding myself and working and be in the sun, I started thinking, like, I need to conserve sun to get back down, and it was really hard to get back down. I'll just hoist a light, which is what we've done in the past. And maybe in cooler weather or once I get in better shape for lifting myself up there. There it is. All right, well, man, it's been a long day out here trying to prep the boat. But we got the radar reflector up here, and would I rather have it on the spreaders up there? Yeah, the instructions say if it's up there, you might have like 10 or 12 miles of, someone can see you from 10 or 12 miles away. With it here, this might only be 4 miles away they can see you. But I can't really hang it up there. I don't have the right hardware. I got the radar reflector done. Sail at night, we're gonna do that tonight. All right, and now we're 7 days out, and the windy model shows 18 knots. Kind of looks like maybe a close haul there. 26 knots as we progress down. 22 knots off our aft quarter. Predict wind shows 2 different models, and look at this, they're going the opposite directions. All right, we're going on a night sail tonight, and we're gonna try and arm this new life jacket. The advantages of this life jacket are that it's comfortable for continuous wear. The disadvantages, the very first one, harness can injure or kill you. So for safety, we have this harness now, and we have this 4,000 pound, 3,000 pound carabiner. And if I were to get knocked down or something and fall over, it stops me from falling off the boat. And then when I go up to the mast, I'll have a jack line here to hook into. So it'll come along here like this. Keep me from falling out. Look, know?
Yeah.
Look, I was here testing out the AIS and there's a boat on it, so I push. You see that little boat right there? I go down to it, highlight it, press enter, and it says its latitude and longitude, and it's 2.7 miles away, and it says its bearing. It's not moving, it says 0.0 knots. Well, thank God the wind prediction has changed. Now we're at 6 days out, and look at this. We kind of have the perfect sailing weather now with 10, 12 knots. Here's the second day at 10 knots. We'd be getting into town around 8 knots, and it's downwind, so this is a much better forecast. Alright, it's almost sunset, and we're headed out on our night shakedown. Should be dark in about 40 minutes.
No.
Guess we'll look it up in a second. Now, this is exactly why I wanted to do this. I keep getting AIS alarms over and over saying there's a collision alarm because I must have it set too sensitive. And that might be good for when we're like offshore more, but for in here it just keeps going off, so I'm gonna fix that.
See all these little lights here?
Oh,
These are all the lights we could use. It's red. This one's red flashing or not. These are the red or green ones. And then this has the red filter.
We probably don't need to motor. We're almost going 6 knots, but I'm just trying to hurry up and get out of the channel and out to the Gulf before it gets too dark, because up here it's got some really shallow spots and I want to be able to see. So we have a little USB light in here that doesn't put much light out, but I think once it's really dark it might. So we're going to test that out. We're getting our jackets on and we have our lights set up. Anybody know what that weird ship is? It's like the most odd looking thing. It has like stuff inside it, like screens and stuff.
We're ready for the pirates.
Look at all these pirates.
Pirate Bay. Woo! Looks like all the Sunset cruise ships have lots of patrons tonight. That's good.
Really hobby horsing over all these waves because the tide is going out and the wind is blowing in, and that guy just decided to shine his flashlight in my eyes. The bow of our boat went underwater, like the anchor went under. The roller furling was about 6 inches from going under, it looked like. We really need to get some sails out to stabilize us and get away from heading right into these waves, but we're in a channel, and well, these are the things that I wanted to see what would happen. You know, it's dark, it's hard to see what's happening, and this is a good learning experience. Things have settled down a little bit now. It's about, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes later, and I have the autopilot on now. This kind of lights up the floor nice down here. So this little light I got, I mean, I can see, at least I can hold it and look at the motor temperature and stuff. But it's more disorienting at night, I'm finding. Like, it's not even that dark yet, and yeah, we're in some decent waves, so be careful. Yeah, I'm gonna head us out into the Gulf of Mexico and then probably head north. But I can't wait to get away from these waves by shore, because that was just a rough ride on the way out. Like, trying to do this in the dark and everything, like in the waves, that's the tough thing to do. A lot of things were working against us this night. We didn't take our seasickness pills because we were in a rush. We had worked all day, we were really tired. For lunch, we drank 2 or 3 beers at the marina, so everything was just stacking up against us, and it was really tough. Well, it's a couple hours later and we're coming back in. And man, like, there's a sign right there that I just didn't see. Can't see anything. You just lose your bearings so easily. After some real creeping along real slow, we're anchored. So look at, we have 0.2 under our keel, 0. We're like right on there. So our keel is literally like touching. But good news is the tide's going back up now. So we cruised in here really slow at 1 knot. It took us like 10 minutes to get into the anchorage. And now we're going to get out of this cold weather and have some dinner. Is this chicken and dumplings?
Yeah. So you said that we need to get everything ready ahead of time.
Settle in before dark. Can't be like leaving a channel and trying to get out there and put up sails in the dark. It's like once the dark, that's why people say they reef before it gets dark, even if they go slow, because you're not going out there and screwing around with that in the dark.
Yeah. And the temperature dropped pretty quickly, so you need to make sure you have pants on, shoes on, not be out there barefoot and shoot with shorts on, to make sure we have our PFDs out and the jackline on.
It was way harder than I thought. It's like driving with being blindfolded. You just can't see enough. Nothing really matters like beyond your boat. You see water going by, but it's not like, you know what I mean? You're just, and easier to get seasick, for sure.
But I think we'll be better prepared because we'll already be sailing. So by the time night falls, if we start getting everything ready an hour before sunset,
right,
we'll be fine.
It's like serious level went up 5 levels at night. Danger level goes up 5 levels at night. Anxiety level goes up. It's just like everything is harder at night. So we just tried to leave and I started the engine and I heard some kind of scraping sound that didn't sound normal. I thought I heard that once before on our last trip, but I wondered, is it a bearing? I couldn't really tell. It was very faint. This time I looked in here and I see a spark right here, like the alternator is touching this housing. So I'm going to take this look in there and see if maybe the alternator is loose or something. Looks like this metal plate is contacting the alternator. This is supposed to be down here. It keeps the pipe kind of in place. That thing's just not where it's supposed to be from when I took the alternator off last time.
Well, I'm glad we did the little shakedown cruise.
Yeah, so we would have been dealing with this in
the middle of the ocean.
Well, yeah, potentially in the middle of the night in the waves, and this is part of the reason I wanted to do this little going out again. All right, let's see if this sounds a little better. Back out to this channel here.
So basically nighttime sailing sucks, but morning sailing is glorious.
It sucks big time to the max. Holy shit, it's going right into our boat. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Really like this the shake siphon. If you haven't used one of these before, it just has a ball in there. When you shake it inside the tank, it forces more and more up until it siphons. She's going in. I'm gonna come look with you. Looking at the tank to see the level. I got it marked in another location.
I'm filling up the water tank.
Water's going in. It's 25 gallons. Anyways, this overflow hose had broken right here over the past few days, I guess, and just fallen off. We started the engine today to go over and pump out for our trip. In fact, look, it's breaking again. I got to get a new piece. Dang it. All right, checking the weather again. 3 days out. When we leave, we have 13 knots, and it looks like the end of the first day will be more like 12 knots. Then we get 11 knots the next day, and the last night 10 knots. And then as we head into Key West, 12 knots. So it's looking pretty good still, a lot better than that original 26 knots. We're almost ready to leave. We spent the day cleaning the boat. Susie cleaned the Isonine, or the clear plastic windows, with a special cleaner for that, and it really came out nice and clear. We got all the oxidization off the deck so it's less slippery, and all that's left is for me to bring my clothes over and also to replace that little coolant overflow line. Do one last check of the weather here on windy. You can actually put a route on there and then scroll through the days you're going to be going and kind of see the wind change as you go through your route. It looks like we're downwind, then we hit kind of a lull for a little while, then the wind picks back up, but it's on our nose, so we might be motoring a little bit right there. And then it starts to change and go more easterly, and this is really where it gets good, and it's nice the rest of the way, it looks like. And there's two right under the nose of that star. We have in here all of everything loaded all up. It's like nighttime outside right now, but extra tools and a lot of clothes. So that's it. We've loaded the boat. We've done all this preparation. I don't know what else we can do. We made a huge deal about it. You know, I'm sure the second time we'll just throw some stuff in and leave. But the next time we see you, we'll be on the water, on the way.